What's going on, guys? Welcome back to F123 for Season 2, round number 11, the Singapore Grand Prix. Now, before we get into this one, first of all, there will be some replay clips in here in this video where there will not be any audio because I once again kept my PS5 controller microphone on, so a few of the clips, there's a lot of noise in the background because my girlfriend was watching a movie behind me. There's a few other clips where there's not really any noise. You might hear the odd little click here and there or cough or something, but it's not that bad. So yeah, just don't take any notice of that. Sorry about that. There is a retirement announcement this race. Lewis Hamilton has announced his retirement from Formula 1. He is, of course, in the championship battle with us this season. He looks like he'll be retiring at the end of this season. It's interesting, though, because in the contract kind of driver market, he still shows there in the driver market, so I'm a bit confused by that. So we'll see what happens, but he has announced his retirement. He just says he will be leaving Formula 1 soon. So does that mean the end of the season? I'm not really sure. Looking at R&D, we've actually caught back up to Mercedes and Aston Martin once again. We've re-overtaken Ferrari and McLaren, so looking good for us. Haas still looking really good there, just behind Ferrari now. But the Haas drivers just can't get the most out of that car. Haas really, especially if they're going to be keeping up this momentum into Season 3, I think they might be looking at some better drivers for Season 3 if they do still have such a good car, because they're really not making the most of it this season. But we'll see what happens here. So of course, Singapore, this race was done after the update where they've changed Singapore, so it is now the new layout, which we will be seeing, well, next week as of I'm recording and probably uploading this. They'll be going to Singapore in real life, so it is the slightly changed Sector 3. We don't have the twisty section anymore, a couple less corners. That did mean that I went for a setup that, because I always get my setups from Sim Racing Setups on YouTube, I used the normal Singapore setup that he had because he hasn't done one for this new track. That may have been an issue, we'll wait and see. I do make it through to Q2 relatively easily. Like I said, with the Haas drivers, they may have a pretty good car at the moment, but both Haas drivers still out in Q1, so just not making the most of that car. Going through Q2 here, now my car felt very good through the slow speed corners, but I was a little bit worried on the straights. Now this is the thing, because I've gone with the original Singapore setup, this track is more suited for tighter corners than it is big straights. Now Singapore is a bit of a weird street track because yes, it is a street track in the regard that it's fairly narrow and there are a lot of tight corners, but it does also have a couple of long straights, and with the change to the track, there's actually now an extra, it's almost straight, I mean it's flat out, there's another flat out section. So I'd say now this track is more of a speed track than anything, so my setup is slightly more downforce orientated as we go through into Q3 though. Still no issues, P8 for us, P6 for Sonoda. Both Red Bulls out in Q2 though, so that is big for them. Oscar Piastri also not making it through in the McLaren. But yeah, so this track is definitely a more high speed track now, so qualifying seems to be going okay, but yeah, I'm not 100% sure how we're going to go in the race here because I'm not sure my car is quite optimized to this version of the track, but we'll have to wait and see. The other issue was also the AI difficulty, because the AI difficulty calculator that I use isn't updated to the new track, so I kind of had to just guess as to where to put the AI. I think I actually got it about right, to be honest, so that is one good thing at least. I was expecting I was either going to, make the difficulty too easy or I was going to make it too hard. I seem to have got it just about right actually, so that is the positive here, but I'm just a little bit worried that the setup might not be quite there, but it shouldn't be too far off. I think we'll see how we go in this race here, but I think for future races, probably will take, if there hasn't been any more, if Sim Racing Setups or anyone else hasn't done a setup video on this updated track by the next time I race here, which will probably be next season, then I'll probably just take a bit of front and rear wing, mainly rear wing I reckon, off the setup for next time. But Q3 here, this is actually my first lap in Q3 on a used set of tyres. Now they're only like one lap used, but didn't go, this first lap on used tyres was actually a pretty good lap. However, my next lap on brand new tyres, for some reason I just didn't get the car working, so it was actually that used set of tyres that got me my lap time. It ended up being P9 in the end, P7 for Sonoda, so we've been out-qualified by a teammate once again, but it's a poor qualifying for me, especially when Hamilton, my championship rival and the driver possibly retiring at the end of the season, is on pole position with Fernando Alonso in P2, so we'll see how this goes. Starting P9 on the grid, a bit further back than I would have hoped, but let's see what's in store for the Singapore Grand Prix.
Marina Bay hosted a Grand Prix that briefly ran in the 60s and 70s, but the Garden City re-entered the calendar for good in 2008. We missed it for a couple of years, but it was great to come back to the Singapore Grand Prix. It's a 3.1 mile lap here at the Marina Bay Street Circuit with 47% taken at full throttle. It's hot, humid and bumpy around the 13 lefts and 10 rights of mostly slow corners. But we should see speeds of up to 200 miles per hour along the Raffles Boulevard. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Fernando Alonso completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Gasly, Leclerc, Tsunoda, Russell, Norris, Davies, Stroll, Oscar Piastri, Ocon, Perez, Verstappen, Albon, Bottas, Liam Lawson, Zhou, Doohan, Magnussen, Sargent and Nick de Vries. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. And with me today, of course, is Natalie Pinkham. Why don't we kick off by discussing Max Verstappen? They've got that grid penalty to worry about, of course, which puts them on the back foot from the get-go.
Yes, that's not the position you want to be in at the start of the Grand Prix. Penalties like this put you in amongst the traffic. But we know they have more pace than those around them, so I do expect they'll make strong progress in the first few laps.
Alright, here we go. Lando Norris has a grid penalty, so he is only just ahead of us. It is 5 lights on and lights off and out, and away we go for the Singapore Grand Prix in Season 2. It is a fairly even start for everybody, to be honest. We're side by side with Norris as we head into Turn 1 through Turn 2. We're still side by side. Nice little battle going on here. Tsunoda tried to make moves up ahead, but he's not been able to. He's still stuck there in P7. I think he maybe actually one position higher? No, I think he did start in P7. We managed to nick up the inside of Lando Norris into the next corner down this back straight, though we do not have very good straight line speed. Look, Lando Norris already all over the back of us. No DRS at the moment. He doesn't quite go for a move into that corner, but it is very, very hectic here as my dog is going nuts behind me. Sorry if you can hear him running around like crazy. And we've managed to stay ahead of Norris, but you could just see on that straight there, I mean, yes, the AI used a lot of battery on lap 1, but we were as well, and it's just not, we don't have the straight line speed in this car with this setup we've got here. So that's definitely a thing I'm going to need to change for the next time we come to this track, because round into this hairpin here, we're so much quicker than everybody else because of our more higher downforce setup, I assume, but also just everybody gets so caught up around that corner. But even here you can see with my teammate, as we got past him, he's still down the straight going quicker than me. We do manage to just about defend, but now we've got this new section here. Usually you'd be going right around about there, but we carry on and then we go into this final little sector right here. Tsunoda all over the back of us because he is just so much quicker round on the straights, but round the corners we can fend him off as we finish lap number 1 up to P7. So a decent first lap here, having to go a little bit defensive against our teammates, but it's been a decent enough start. Russell the car ahead with Leclerc the car ahead of him. Leclerc started on the hard compound tyres, so he is a little bit slower than the rest of us at the moment, but honestly I'm kind of struggling to keep up with these guys even on medium tyres. Leclerc's, you know, on the hard he's got some good pace against us, and Russell can't quite make a move as of yet. We're on lap number 5 I believe now, so DRS is enabled as we head into this very tight hairpin once again. Try and get out of the corner. Traction not very good, so we've got good traction around good grip around the corners, but I noticed that traction out of corners really struggling quite a lot, especially out of that hairpin, having a lot of issues. Kevin Magnussen further back has gone for a spin. He's crashed into the wall and his teammate has gone into him as well. And that is both AlphaTauri's out of this race. This is one of the clips here, sorry, where there is no audio. But as you can see, Magnussen spins round and then De Vries goes straight into him. And it's a double DNF for the AlphaTauri team. Both drivers crashing into each other, basically. Well, Magnussen crashing into the wall, or spinning out, crashing into the wall, and then De Vries not reacting quick enough and crashing into his teammate. That is an absolute calamity for the AlphaTauri drivers. They were 21, P21 and P22 right at the back, and they are both out, and that is now a safety car out. A couple of drivers decided to take the gamble and take a pit stop. Charles Leclerc, weirdly enough, is one of the drivers that does that from the hard compound tyres. He's onto a set of mediums. He's not going to be able to take that set of mediums to the end. Sergio Perez started on the softs. Both Red Bulls actually started on the soft compound tyres. He's gone onto a set of mediums, but once again, you're not going to get the mediums till the end. I was considering coming in for my hard tyres, but it's actually still quite a way to go on the hards, so you're not going to do it on the mediums, so don't know how that's going to go. Not the best restart from us, as Tsunoda's already looking at us down the main straight into turn 1. Yeah, not the best restart, but we're up to P6 now with Leclerc coming in for his pit stop. We've still got our teammate behind us. We've still got Russell ahead of us. Leclerc, though, trying to make his way up the order now, as he's now going and looking at a move on Logan Sargent into turn 1. He's on the fresh medium compound tyres in a much quicker, well, I say much quicker Ferrari than that Williams. Not a whole lot quicker, although when we looked at the R&D, Williams are starting to fall back a little bit from that mid-pack, but they're still fairly comfortably ahead of Alfa Romeo and AlphaTauri. As we continue on, just stuck behind Russell and Gasly, the cars ahead, but we're very close now through this sector. We know we're quick through here, and we're going to go for it round the outside of Russell. We've just got so much more grip around the outside, a little bit of a kick of oversteer on exit, but we've gotten past Russell. We've now just got to defend from him, because you can see he's very quick down the straight, but we just about managed to hang on, and that is us up into P5. Leclerc still making moves through this race. He's now got one of the Haas cars, I believe that would be Jack Doohan, that he's going to go around the outside of, off the back straight there, and he gets up into another position. Sorry if you can hear my dog, he's right next to me playing with his ball now, so you might hear him breathing every now and again. It's all going on this video. Leclerc still making moves here. The only real action going on at the moment, to be honest, he now gets past, I believe, Zhou Guanyu, up another position. Sergio Perez, another one of those drivers making it through the order after that early pit stop. He's now going for a move on, I believe that would be Doohan again, and maybe having a look on Zhou as well. A little bit of contact through turn 1, gets the move on the Haas, cannot get the move on the Alfa Romeo though, so Perez making his way through the order, but not the best, as now Charles Leclerc is out of the race. He has a mechanical failure on lap number 12, and all his strategy gamble has not paid off because he's had a mechanical failure. So very unfortunate for the winner of the last race in the Netherlands. We are looking at a move on Gasly actually, but we have to back out because there's yellow flags because of Leclerc DNFing from the race. So yeah, could have gone for a move on Gasly there, but unfortunately couldn't make that move legally. The next lap or two around though, and we definitely have more pace than the Alpine, who's up in the giddy heights of P4, doing a very good job, Pierre Gasly here, as we now try and go round the outside. We may not have the quickest car in a straight line, but with the DRS, when the car ahead doesn't have it and we deploy some battery, we can make the move and we get up into P4. So we can see the podium now up ahead of us. Lap 15, we're coming in for our hard compound tyres. Let's see how this goes into the pit box, onto the hard compound tyres. It is a good pit stop from the team, no time lost, very, very good stop, as we are right behind Sainz and Alonso now. Hamilton a fair way up the road. He's absolutely dominating this race at the moment, but we are definitely looking at potentially a podium here. But Hamilton looking like he's going to quite easily cruise on to win this race, but anything can happen here. We have seen that before, as Alonso gets a really good run on Carlos Sainz. We've actually lost a bit of time to these guys in that lap after the pit stop. Alonso trying to get past his fellow Spaniard, but Carlos Sainz just about hangs on through the first couple of corners, but Alonso is right behind and he's going to get DRS as they head onto this first very long, somewhat straight here. Alonso has the DRS. He's going to, I assume, have a look. Yes, he is. He's going to try and go round the outside into this next corner here, and he has better grip in that Aston Martin, and he is now up into P2, so that is Fernando Alonso up into second place. My teammate Yuki Tsunoda came into the pits a lap or two after myself, I think just a lap after me. Wasn't the quickest stop by our team, and then he gets held up by cars ahead. He's lost about 3 positions in the pits there, so very unfortunate for Tsunoda. That's now plummeted him just outside the points, so not good for our teammate there, but not really his fault at all. As now, we've actually got Max Verstappen all over the back of us. He kind of comes out of nowhere, and he's actually going to get past us. We're going to just about try and hang on through turn 2, but Verstappen gets past us. He's onto a set of medium compound tyres. He started on the soft compound tyres, didn't go for a change under the safety car, but did go for a change a bit later on. So he's actually now looking at potentially going to the end on those mediums, but a few laps later his tyres are now starting to wear out, and we, as we go purple through sector 1, are going to go round the outside just like we did with Pierre Gasly and get up back ahead of Max Verstappen. So Verstappen looking at a good finish here still after a poor qualifying once again. Now I've heard over the radio that Hamilton has an issue and he's falling back into the clutches of Fernando Alonso, who's now going to fight him in through turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. This is the 3rd time now that Hamilton, at least the 3rd time this season, that Hamilton has had a mechanical problem from leading the race. Has never had a retirement so far this season, but 3 times, I believe it was Canada, Hungary, and here in Singapore, as Alonso goes for a bit of a crazy move, doesn't get it done, goes up the inside into the next corner. It looks like this might be it for Hamilton. He's going to lose the lead here to Fernando Alonso, and Fernando Alonso takes the lead of the Singapore Grand Prix. But yeah, this is the 3rd time now that Hamilton is going to lose the lead because of a mechanical issue. So unfortunate, especially in this tight championship battle. As now Carlos Sainz is going to get past Hamilton quite a bit easier than Alonso did, and now we are the car behind our championship rival. Lance Stroll made a bit of a crazy move there on Esteban Ocon. We're going to actually have a look at that from on board because it looked really tight as they head into this right-hander. Ocon's just squeezing him. I think there might have been the smallest bit of contact there. Very, very tight for those 2 drivers, but Stroll manages to get up a position there ahead of Ocon. Very tight stuff there. As you can see, we're now stuck behind Sainz and Hamilton, but just as Sainz got past Hamilton and we caught up to the back of these guys, Hamilton seemed to all of a sudden boost his pace back up again, so I think his car is now fixed once again, but it is so difficult to overtake on this track. The Ferrari is quite a quick car in a straight line as well, so Hamilton is finding it difficult to get past Sainz, but we're finding it difficult to get back past Hamilton. We don't have a quick car in a straight line. He's also got DRS off Sainz, so we're finding it very difficult. This is about the closest we've been into this section right here, but we're just not close enough on the second to last lap, and I think we're going to have to concede. I think it's going to be another P4 finish for us, so Hamilton is going to beat us in this race, but not as far ahead as he would have hoped, as he was looking for a pretty easy win here on the final lap, and Lando Norris has now caught up to Max Verstappen, who on those medium compound tyres is feeling the tyre wear, and he's fallen now down to I think P6 as Lando Norris gets up to P5. But the man of the day, he's been waiting for another race win since what, 2012, 2013? He had a few opportunities this season to get a win, but they've always slipped out of his fingers. But this time it's Fernando Alonso who will win the Singapore Grand Prix. He finally wins another race in Formula 1. Took him a long time, but he's finally done it. Thanks to Lewis Hamilton's car issues, constant car issues, he just about manages to keep hold of P3, Sainz in P2, it's back-to-back P4 finishes for us, so a decent recovery from a not good qualifying, and, you know, Hamilton doesn't get as many points as us as I was thinking.
They've endured the harsh conditions here in Singapore then to pull off a spectacular win. So Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything. It always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
I can see them on their way out to the podium now. Aston Martin are really making waves in this sport, and what a special race this was to see them earn that top spot.
So he's finally done it. Fernando Alonso back on the top step of a podium for the first time in about 11 or 12 years. It's the first time in this career mode that he gets the W. It's Carlos Sainz for another P2 finish, just like last time out in the Netherlands, and Lewis Hamilton back on the podium in P3. What could have been for Hamilton though? He could have taken a big chunk out of our championship score, because I think no matter what, we were finishing P4 in that race. Hamilton was looking for a pretty comfortable win there, but another mechanical issue while leading a race fairly comfortably demotes him to P3 this time, but he still does beat us. I think that's gonna close him up in the championship a little bit. We had 16 points between us before this race. It's now only 13 points between myself and Hamilton, but he was looking to, you know, make that, what, about 5? Probably even less, actually. I don't know. Yeah, he was looking to make that a lot less than what it ended up being, but there's still plenty of races to go in this season. Mercedes still pulling away from us in the Constructors' Championship, though, as Tsunoda finished outside the points. Unfortunate for him. I think he was looking at points here, but yeah, pit stop kind of screwed him over a little bit. So yeah, that is it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.